Hi guys, this is Ashley Main, IFB Pro again. Welcome back to my YouTube. So I wanted to go over a couple of things for this YouTube. In my last one, I went over like what my normal breakfast is like, what my training is somewhat around now. Technically right now I'm around 12 or so weeks out from my first show. Again, I have two. The first one's going to be again in 12 weeks, and the second's going to be another 4 weeks or so after that. So cardio is up, and yeah, I feel okay so far, so we'll see how that goes. So today I wanted to go over a few of the mistakes that I've made with competing and a few mistakes that I've made in just that overall health and fitness journey. I hate that word, but journey in my fitness life. The first one I want to go over a couple of competing mistakes that I have made, and then we'll get into some of the fitness and health overall mistakes that either I have made and things that I know people will also make as far as their mistakes, and then go over some questions too. I've been competing for around around 7 or so years now. One of the first shows that I ever did was actually a Muscle Mania show, not an NPC show, which I love NPC, but the first show I did was a Muscle Mania show. And when I first did that show, I had no coach, I had obviously no experience, I had no one else really that was also even at my gym that competed to ask any questions to, so I just Googled a lot and I just YouTubed a lot and found out some stuff for myself and learned the hard way and a couple of things too. One of the mistakes that I made is that my first show, I didn't tan at all, and I thought because I'm already tan, I'm like, oh, I don't have to do that, so I'm fine with just walking on stage by my own skin. No, you need a tan. It doesn't matter what federation, you need a tan. The first again show that I did, I didn't tan at all, I didn't do any bronzer at all, and then when I got backstage and saw other women who were also around my same skin color that had tanned and bronzed, I was like, oh no, I couldn't do anything at that point because I'm already there. So that's one of the first mistakes that I made that I thought was kind of funny. And if you are going to tan with a actual, like, they have experience with bodybuilding tans. Do not just go to your local like salon where they do hair, nails, stuff like that and be like, oh, I'm just gonna get in the tanning bed a couple of times and I'm good. No, you can start with that if you want as a base, but you need to actually tan with someone who is experienced with that. And that also kind of goes into makeup too. So again, for my first two shows, I did my own makeup. And I think if you are like, if that's what you do, that's what your trade is, you're a makeup artist, then yeah, I think it could be okay if you do your own makeup, but even still, stage makeup is different than regular makeup. Like, I think that I know how to do okay winged liner and stuff like that, but it looks different when you're on stage as far as lighting, and someone that has had experience with stage makeup before can do that for you. So another thing I also did, again, into my second show, when I did get into NPC, this is a personal preference, but I tanned everything. So my second show, I did tan, but I didn't go through a bodybuilding tanner. So that's why I'm telling you, don't make these mistakes. Because I see pictures now and I'm like, oh gosh, that looks horrible. So I tanned my body, but I also tanned my face. Don't do that. Don't do that. Again, it's up to you, but you want to wash your face and not have to worry about streaking in your tan. And then personally, here's how I would suggest doing it. And one of the past makeup artists that I've had for competing, this is how she also kind of, saw it. You tan from here down, and they can always change a little bit as far as your foundation. You can make it a little bit darker, you can bronze, and that's what will help blend the rest of your face and with your body, that we don't look like a floating head kind of thing. But people that tan their face, it doesn't always look as flattering on your face. And then when you have makeup on top of that, it doesn't always sit that well. So I would suggest that, again, if you're going to which you should tan. And if you're going to do your own makeup, like keep that in mind. But I would really just get someone to do your makeup. You don't have to worry about it. You're already tired that day. You're, more stressed out that day. The last thing you want to have to worry about is like, blending and doing things that you don't have experience in for something that, everyone's going to see you do. So I would look at someone to get to do your own makeup. One of the people that I like a lot, she goes by V, the makeup artist. Let me just make sure that that's correct. She's gonna do my makeup for my next show, so let me just make sure before she sees it. It's like, that's not my name. That is correct. Yeah. She has a lot of cosmetics too that are really great, but she's amazing, and I really only want her to do my makeup for the most part right now that I know of. So she does the same thing. She just blends it, and it looks great. One of the other mistakes that I made is getting your suit a little bit late and getting a suit that you don't really love. When I first started competing, I was really, really young. I did not have a whole lot of money. So I tried to like cut corners as much as I could because I wanted to do it. I don't think I've ever told anyone else like this, so you guys, I haven't posted about it or whatever. But when I got my first suit, I got my first posing suit, I got a blank suit, and I bedazzled that shit myself. I put rhinestones on it, and mind you, I actually got second that show. So again, this same show, I didn't do my makeup a whole, the way I really wanted, my hair the way I wanted, the suit, again, that I kind of like bedazzled myself a little bit. I got second, so it's not horrible. But when I look back at pictures, it's also for you. When I look back at pictures, there's things now that I'm like, okay, like I would have liked to have done that. It would have made it easier on me. And again, the suit that I got, it wasn't like horrible or anything, but like just the way that I like my suits now, like you get to keep these pictures forever, and it's your one day that you've been working really hard for to look the absolute best that you want to look. So when you're doing these shows, just make sure you're budgeting for that too. Like if you need to really cut corners, then yeah, you can totally do that. Like get a blank suit and see if you can do it yourself. But if you can swing it, if you can spend an extra, couple $100, get a suit that you actually like and you really love. Or you can even look into like renting a suit. I didn't even know people could do that. So when I first started competing again, you can rent suits if you want to. Budget out what kind of suit you want. Make sure you get that ahead of time, and don't wait the last like couple weeks before your show is about to be there and you still don't have your suit yet. That's so stressful on top of everything else. Get your suit early and get one you actually like. Don't be out here bedazzling it yourself like I did. I was so worried about like the glue, like something popping off. Anyway, that's over. That conversation is over. Pose early and pose often. One of the things that I like to do is I pose between my sets. Now, sometimes I think when people see me and I'm, I have just my sports bra and my shorts on and I'm posing in the mirror between sets, I don't care if someone is like right ahead of me in the mirror and I'm off to the side and I'm posing. The whole point of it is, one, you're posing when you're already a little fatigued and you're kind of tired. Also, you're doing it in front of people. When you're on stage, if that's the first time you've been posing in front of people, it can be awkward, you can be anxious about it. You wanna get to the point where you've done it so many times in front of people that it is like second nature. You don't have to think about it at all, because once you go on stage and you have your adrenaline rushing, you have all of your excitement, there, and you have people and you freeze like that, you can always tell. You can tell people have been posing a bit more often in front of people and when they haven't. So personally, again, I pose in between sets. That way I get more frequency in. I'm already tired. So, you have to like push through it, obviously. And then again, I'm doing it in front of people. My first show, I was a little bit afraid of that. I was afraid of posing in front of people. And now I actually try, if I'm posing either, at my gym or if I'm posing in another gym that has a bigger aerobics room, I try to actually find the times where it's a bit more busy. Not in the aerobics room, obviously, but like the gym, if, it's visible from that too. When it's busier, that way I know there's people that are gonna be there and I'm posing and keeping that in my head, that like just getting used to people seeing me pose. If that makes sense. Pose early, pose often. Do not wait until you're a couple weeks out to like learn your poses. Learn your poses, learn your routine, and you keep practicing it, because the more you keep doing a routine, it's just like a workout. You just get used to it and you start to add a little bit of flair to it too. But you don't get to do that if you're not comfortable in your poses. So the last of the like competitor mistakes and like possible tips that hopefully you guys can learn from me and my mistakes, is just get a coach. Just get a coach. The reason I say this, you do not know what you don't know. If you haven't had experience with this, yeah, you can learn the hard way. I learned the hard way. Don't be out here learning the hard way. You don't have to learn the hard way. All of these things, again, like, you know, having someone to ask, like, hey, should I tan or not? Yes, always tan. Should I, you know, get a makeup artist or not? Should I be cutting my water this far out or not? Should I be cutting my sodium? Like, all these questions, you can have someone to ask, and they've had experience with other people or just themselves, even if it's just like asking someone else that you know, like it's at your gym. I've had a couple of people also that were at my gym that I asked a few questions to before I had a coach, and I was lucky to have them. But if you don't have that and you know, need someone to ask questions to, you can try to ask people online on Instagram, but like pay them for their time. Like, don't be out here just asking 1,000 questions. I mean, like, just answer, no, just pay them for their time. So I personally, I have a coach now, which I love. My coaches are Team Long. It's Sarah and Dawn Long. They're great. They have the same, I mostly talk with Sarah. She has the same mentality I have with food, the same mentality I have as far as like overall fitness and health, and, you know, more of a holistic way about looking at it and things like that. But find one that you feel comfortable with and you feel comfortable communicating to, and actually communicates with you back, does not just ignore your text messages and your emails and take your money, and be able to ask them questions. And that way you can, again, walk into your first show or whatever number you're on and have the most amount of information available to you. So you're able to walk in there with confidence and know that you are ready for it. You're not walking in there like, again, getting there and being like, why is everyone tanned and I'm not? Like, it sucks so much. Find a coach that goes with your budget, goes with who you are as far as your personality types, and make sure you mesh well. Like, again, the reason that Sarah and I work so well together is because I have prepped myself for my past shows. And again, even though I learned the hard way, I did learn what works with my body, what maybe can't work with my body, mostly what mistakes to not make anymore. And she lets me have more room to do those things. If you need someone to tell you exactly what to do as far as your workouts and exactly what to do with your nutrition, make sure you're open about that and you let them know that. With her, I let her know when I first got with her that, hey, I do have some background in health and fitness and I have some background in nutrition. I know what works for me. I didn't want to have someone who would tell me to do things that did not go along with what my, I don't know if I want to say beliefs, but like just what my values in fitness are, which again are being very holistic, you know, not going overboard on supplements that don't need to be taken from everybody. We're not going to get into that. We won't go there. And fitness and things like that. So I meshed well with her, and I went with her because of all those things. I kind of call her my second brain when I get lower on my carbs. Throughout the rest of the time, like I might, you know, message her a couple times throughout the week, but when we get closer, I'm messaging her like every other day, and that's when it really helps for me. Is again when I get lower on carbs and I don't necessarily want to draw myself back from carbs or increase them or, you know, have a rest day. She's my second brain to tell me like, hey, you know what you're supposed to be doing, just make sure you're doing it, and it just kind of reaffirms that for me. So let's get into overall health and fitness mistakes that I have made and that, you know, maybe I possibly have also seen people do. No shade if you've done these, but like a little bit of shade. A little bit. Well, not shade, just like information. One of the mistakes that I made and a lot of people make with health and fitness is you don't have a plan and you don't have a program and you have no background to just be, you know, freestyling this shit. So when I first started working out, I was really, really skinny. I didn't have any weight for the most part to me. I was really, really light. Like, just so you guys know, I'm around like I've been cutting, so I'm like 183 right now. And before working out, I was around like 135, like even below that sometimes. That's, for my height, being 5'10", that's not a whole lot that I had on my body. It was just, I was really, really unhealthy, really, really skinny. It is, yeah. When I wanted to work out, I wanted to get more muscle in my legs. I wanted to have more shape to my body and, do that without having to eat a whole lot of food and, get fat, which is not what I wanted. When I first was going to the gym, I was just doing things that I saw on, YouTube and doing things maybe like my dad taught me. So my dad also is was a bodybuilder and powerlifter like way back in the day. He doesn't do it anymore. But a couple of things that like he went over with me is what I was trying to do. But I wasn't keeping track of anything. I was just going in there and just like moving. And that's fine if that is, enough for you, that's great. But if you have a goal, you have an actual goal you're in there for, you need to track and you have a program. Otherwise, you have no idea if you're getting better or not. You have no idea what works for you or not. And if you're not tracking that, it's hard to gauge that in a long-term kind of basis way. So I'd be working out and like lifting weights and not keeping track of what I did last week or the week before that, and wasn't keeping track of a couple of different things, including my food. I wasn't keeping track of my food. And if you're trying to grow or if you're trying to drop body fat, you need to track it. Otherwise, if you're not seeing results, you need something else to go back to. And if you don't have any information, you don't know what to do from there. So you're just gonna get frustrated and think that something's not working. And then on top of that, something that people don't always remember is like what they did the week before or the day before. So for example, let's just say again, 1 week you were great. You were on point with your food. You were on point with your workouts and all of that stuff. But the last week, let's just say you only worked out 2 days out of that week and you're used to working out 5 or 6, and you were not on point with your food, and you're wondering what the week after that you're not like completely like shredded and you're not on point with everything as far as like your lifts, they're not as strong as they were, stuff like that. If you don't remember what all you did last week, then you don't really know what to gauge as far as your progress is for that week. If that makes sense. So make sure you're tracking all of that. That way you have a realistic view on what you're actually doing. So yeah. Another mistake that I made, and a lot of people also make, is staying focused on your goal and what the results that you should expect for that goal. So one of the things I teach a lot of my clients, and I try to go over in my Instagram a lot and my YouTube right now a lot too as well, is weight loss is not everything. Weight loss is not everything. What your goal is, you need to go along with results for that. So for me, again, looking back now, I'm like, what were you thinking? But again, I was around like 135 or so, trying to gain weight. And I was mad when I was working out really hard and not dropping weight on the scale. What the fuck? Why was I worried about that? I remember like working out really, really hard and feeling like I was getting a little bit stronger, but looking at the scale being like, oh, I'm not losing any more body fat. Like, whatever your goal is, make sure your results that you're tracking, you're focused on that and not getting down on yourself because of a result that has nothing to do with your progress, that your goal as far as your progress. So for me, again, not having a whole lot of muscle to start with, not having even a whole lot of body fat to start with, and looking at a scale and thinking in the back of my head because of what is pushed on us as far as like, marketing and kind of social norms and things like that, as far as women needing to lose weight to be having some kind of validation as far as their work in the gym and their workouts, it's ridiculous. Me, again, being 135 and focusing on weight loss and trying to gain muscle it's just conflicting. It's very conflicting because muscle is going to weigh more. Again, if your body is seeing results in the way that you like as far as how it looks in the mirror and it feels a bit better, who cares if the scale is going down? If your measurements are changing, if your clothes are fitting better, if your body is feeling better, if you're not as achy in your joints and you're not as bloated, stuff like that, who cares if the scale is not going down? That thing does not measure everything. It doesn't measure your water. It doesn't measure if you haven't had a bowel movement for a day. If you haven't, been doing it in the morning, you're doing it later. If you're on your cycle, stop weighing yourself on your cycle. It'll drive you crazy. One of the mistakes I would say that I made, again, when I first started, a lot of people still make now, is letting the scale judge their work, and it's not the end all be all. So whatever your goal is, make sure you're tracking results that go along with that. If it's strength, if it's, size, whatever it is, make sure you're doing that and you're focusing on that. The next of my mistakes is changing my workout routine way too often. Way too often. One of the things I kind of touched on a little bit in this last video, if we kept it in with the edit, or if we kept it in, I have to look back, is I think people on either Instagram and YouTube and things like that, like, you want to keep your content interesting, so you're changing up movements a lot and trying to keep people engaged. And even a lot of trainers do that too. They're kind of pushed in that direction because of what people see on Instagram. They see someone doing a new workout every day, every week, and that's fine. But if you have a goal, train for that goal. Don't just throw random stuff in to distract you that is not gonna help you just for the sake of change and just for the sake of muscle confusion. You're not confusing your muscle. It's over, it's canceled. Some of the basics they've been around for a reason, and it's because they work. So squatting, deadlifting, benching, those are really good foundational movements, and they've been around for a long time for a reason. It's because they work and they work well, so work them. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have fun in your workouts. There are definitely some times that I will start with my workout and like the meatier kind of, foundation of it. So my really need to focus on lifts for my goal. And I might add in a bit later because I still like to work out. I still, it's something I like to do. I want to make sure my clients like to do it. I'll add in a couple more things that are still effective and still different and still fun, just for your, mental kind of side of it too. But don't, again, be doing that from start to finish, doing things that you don't need to be spending time doing. So another example, not that it applies directly just to this, but people ask me all the time, like, what do you, squat, what do you bench, what do you deadlift as far as maxing? I don't max. Now, again, if your goal is strength and if your training method is a bit different, then that's fine, I get that. But personally, I don't need to max. And to really max, you need to start with that. You need to start fresh with that, and you need to pull, again, like that. It needs to be one rep max. It's like all of it needs to be in there. Then the rest of my workout is going to suffer because I'm doing something that makes no sense for my goal. Again, if your focus is, strength, if it's powerlifting, yeah, duh, you should be maxing. But if you're a bodybuilder, no one cares what you max on stage. If that's how you start your program, as far as how you, gauge everything out as far as your strength, great, that's fine too, I get that. But that's not the way that I do it. I, again, do all of my workouts based off of what I need to be doing for my goal. So I'll do sets of, 12, 10, I'll even do sets of 50, like burnout sets, but I'm not maxing out. So, again, just make sure when you're doing your workouts, it goes along with what your goal is. That way you're not in there just, doing something random just to be doing something. Unless if that's what you want to do, then go ahead, that's fine. I don't want to knock it, but that's not what I'm doing, but whatever. Do whatever you want to do. The last thing is going to be rest and recovery. So I remember, when I first started working out, I had a membership of 24-hour fitness, and I would be in there at 3 in the morning, 2, 3 in the morning, and trying to get something in, just trying to get my workout in, just because, again, in the back of my head, I'm you gotta push, you gotta work hard for it. No excuses. A little bit. You need to sleep. You need to sleep some of the time. It's not even an excuse. You need to use it. One of the things that I do for competing and for, my health and fitness now is I focus on my sleep. When a client sees me, I ask them 3 questions, and it's every day I ask them these 3 questions. How's your food and water? How's your sleep? And are you sore? And are you achy? And is anything sharp as far as your pain? All of those things are part of rest and recovery. So as far as your food, if you're not getting your food down, if you've eaten at all and it's 4 p.m., no, you're gonna feel horrible. Stop and eat something. If you, again, haven't gotten enough sleep, if you've only gotten a couple hours of sleep and it was shitty sleep and you're trying to go work out, no, you're not gonna be able to do anything. Now again, it's a personal thing, but my rule is if someone doesn't get at least 4 hours of sleep, I do not want to see you in the gym. I would like for you to go home and sleep. You need to do that. Because if you're not getting enough sleep and you're trying to go in and like, burn the candle at both ends, I guess so to speak, you're not gonna do much of anything. You're not even recovering as far as your body is concerned. Your body recovers when you're sleeping for the most part as well. So if you're not getting enough of that, how are you expecting to, either grow or, lose body fat and, feel better throughout your day and actually really hit your workouts hard and effectively if you haven't gotten enough sleep or gotten enough food? And then again, along with that, the other question that I ask people is like, how's their water? If your water hasn't been up to, snuff, and for example, here it gets really, really hot and you're not sweating, no, just again, stop and get that under control, because you don't want to again get to the point where either you feel nauseous or you pass out, and then now again, you just feel discouraged. And then with the soreness and the achiness, if you're not stretching, if you're not recovering, and you're not keeping an eye on certain things that might be, coming up, like, you might be having some achiness in the knees and things like that, then again, it can be really easy to get discouraged into not doing certain things like squatting if your knee is hurting and you're not recovering it, you're not stretching, you're not getting, again, enough sleep, you're not mindful about what you do at home and stuff like that. It can be really easy to, again, just say like, oh, well, I can't squat anymore, so my knee hurts, so I'm just gonna stop lifting for a couple of months. Not that drastic, but it happens in that kind of way a little bit. So rest and recovery is really, really key for anyone that's trying to do anything as far as health and fitness. Even if you're not someone who's like if you're not a competitor, it's still really important for you. So focus on those couple of things. So those are a couple of the tips that, again, hopefully you guys don't have to make now, or if you are making them, stop. So yeah. So we'll get into questions. Moa Ashton Fit. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. But she asked about finding a coach. It depends on what you mean as far as coach, what kind. If you're talking about a bodybuilding or competition coach, then I kind of went over it a little bit earlier in this video. Just to make sure, again, like you are finding somebody who is good as far as communication with you, fits along with your budget, and fits along with what your needs are as far as a coach. So there are some people who they only get programming as far as their workouts from coaches. There's some people that get diets from coaches. There are some people that will have someone that they're seeing in person, things like that. It's off of what you feel like you need. So if you need someone to be there at the gym waiting for you, then be honest with yourself and know that you're gonna have to pay a little bit more for that attention to get what you need. It doesn't make you any less of, a hardworking person if you know that you need a coach to help. It means that you know yourself. So there's that. And then again, if it's someone that's like online, if you need someone that just, writes your program for you or does your diet for you, just make sure, again, you know what you need in a real way and you find someone that goes along with that, and don't try to like shortchange yourself to, fit something in that doesn't work for you. Like I said before, again, I've told people before with my online programs, I go over with them that if you need a program and if you need someone to have everything written out for you and you need someone to go over a couple of things as far as nutrition with you, then my programs are great for you. Honestly, a lot of people, as far as my programs, they work really well a lot of times for military. It's not just military. I've had a bunch of different clients. I've had stay-at-home moms. I've had college students. I've had all kinds of different people. But if you have some kind of background, a little bit, some kind of experience in training, or if you at least had a trainer for a couple sessions to go over good movement patterns, and then you get into the online programming, and you don't need me there to chase after you to get you to work out, then my programs are for you. But if you need someone to be banging on your door to get you to go work out, first of all, I'm not the coach at all for you. I want you to be there. I'm not gonna come looking for you. Again, if you need someone to be there in person with you to make you feel more confident in movements, and that's okay. If you're in my general area, you can reach out to me. But if not, I would really recommend going to see another trainer that, again, same thing, fits along with what you need. So yeah, just again, be honest with what you're looking for as far as a coach and look for someone that does that. Dubia71, they asked, what is the best way to lose belly fat? And I actually had a little mini IG story that I went over with this, but I'll go over it again because I'm happy to ask that question because I wanted to go over it again in another video. So, in case no one else has told you, and I don't care what someone is saying, there is no way to spot reduce fat. You cannot spot reduce fat. You're not going to crunch your belly fat away. That's not the way it works. There are a lot of videos, and again, it's not to knock them, it's just they're trying to get your attention and they're trying to get you started with something. I get that. But if it's something like you see like on Instagram or YouTube would say like, oh, well, do these ab exercises for a flat, shredded tummy, like to lose body, it's not gonna help you lose body fat. Now, I'm not saying it's not gonna help you, I'm not saying don't do it, but don't expect to work a certain area out and lose the fat in that area. And don't be discouraged if you're working really hard and you're noticing results in other areas and you've been doing a lot of core and you're not having as much result that you see there right away. Your body fat loses, or the way that you lose body fat is it comes off of everywhere at the same time where it's most available to do that, and it's not going to pick and choose where you burn it more from. Not from your stomach, not from your inner thighs, not from your hips, your back of your arms. Those are some of the key areas for people. And the reason I say a lot of those areas is because those are the trouble areas for people for a couple of reasons. One, because we store a lot of times more body fat there. Now it's different for everybody. Some people store more body fat in their back, I do, and in my quads. Some people store more body fat in their tummy, the back of their arms, their legs, inner thighs. It just depends on your body and how you store fat. Now, I describe losing fat kind of like this. Imagine you have two piles of clothes, and one pile has like 15 tops in that pile. The other has 100 tops in that pile. They started out that way. That's just the way that you walked upon them. And you take one top from each pile every day. It looks like that first pile of 15 is going down faster. It's not. It's the same rate. That other pile just had a lot more to begin with. It's coming off. It's just gonna take a little bit more time to notice a huge change in that other pile. So you can kind of know that if you're losing body fat in your arms or in your legs and you're noticing another place like your shoulders, but your stomach isn't coming down quite as fast as you might like, you can know it's coming off of every at the same time. It's coming off. You just have to keep it up and keep consistent with it, and you'll see more results the more that you go lower in your body fat. Now also try to keep your food as good as you can, because again, if you have more fat cells available to you there, even though you can't spot reduce fat, your body will store fat in the most readily available place and easiest to store place as possible, and that's usually the place that you have the most body fat, room for body fat. So if you're having issues with that as well, just make sure your diet is kind of locked up too. We'll do one more question. So we'll do post-contest refeeding and pre-contest nutrition before a cut. You know what, I'm gonna focus more on the post-contest because I do kind of want to go over this a little bit, just in case, again, you are someone who maybe you don't have a coach and you don't have anyone telling you this. When you're dieting really, really hard and you're, trying to look your best for that show, for that competition, and this kind of also goes into people who are dieting really, really hard in a not sustainable way, and they get to like a certain goal. So even if it's not a competition, even if it's, like a cruise, or it's a birthday, or it's, whatever you have a goal for, you worked really hard to get there. Don't allow yourself to fall off the wagon so much that you completely erase all that you've just done and harm your body in the process. There have been people who, after they have done competitions, and again, it's not the sport's fault, it's either someone not having enough information or not having enough, self-restraint, and again, it's their choice to not do this after a show, but they'll, gorge themselves on all kinds of processed foods, having a lot of sodium that they're not used to having, and they'll have all this water retention, and some people have had so much they have to go to the hospital and, get looked at because they've just, yeah. So, after you have reached your certain goal, I would just suggest keep the quality as far as the food that you've been, having as good as you possibly can. If you have a couple of, rewards for yourself, like I'm not gonna be here saying that I eat chicken breast and everything after I've competed, but I'm not gonna go and, eat a whole menu at, some restaurant that I go out to after. I'm not gonna go crazy about that. So what I would suggest is, as long as you're tracking your food and you're incrementally bringing it back up and trying to keep as much as you can quality on the forefront of your mind, or at the forefront of your mind when you're eating your food after, so you're not, again, gaining a whole bunch of body fat right after you have, again, just been, gotten to a certain goal that you have. And again, causing some issues with your body. Like personally, I have a couple of food issues that if I do happen to have it and I, bloat like crazy, it does not feel good as far as my stomach and all that kind of stuff like that. And it's just, again, you just don't want to be erasing all of the work that you've just done to, have like some fun for like a week or whatever. So with post-contest, your coach should be helping you with coming, back down from dieting. This next, 12 or so month period, I'm gonna have to do that too, where I'm gonna have to be dieting, come back down for a couple of months, and then go right back into it. And again, there's a way to do that, but it's off of, how you're training, how you're eating, whatever your goal is, and making sure that, again, you're just not losing your mind when you're done with, getting to wherever you've gotten to. Again, you worked really hard, like try as much as you can to kind of keep that up. So thank you so much for watching today and sticking with me today. If you have any other questions, you can subscribe to my YouTube and head to my website and ask any questions there. You can also, if you're not already following me on Instagram, you can follow me on Instagram, shoot questions there, stuff like that. I'd love to hear more about what you guys think about these videos and what you want to see more of them and things like that. If you have any questions, then yeah, go visit me there. But other than that, I gotta get ready for the rest of my day. So yeah, thank you and have a good rest of your day. Train hard. Bye.